Hello everyone and welcome to my video where I'm going to show you some secret mechanic that lets you reach India on the fastest way possible as England without taking exploration or expansion ideas. If you don't know, by the way, India is one of the richest regions in the game, if not the richest, because of its high development provinces with good trade goods. Now, if you wanna see more content like this, just leave a like and subscribe as much as you did in my Bohemia video where I showed you some other secret. But before going with this, I also need to get past the game start. And the game start includes the 100 Years War. As you can see, I am also going to show you how to get past this game start. So, now I am going to ally Burgundy, Austria and Aragon. Aragon because they are a rival to France, of course. If Castile was the rival, then I would ally Castile. Now I'm going to check if I have the 5% crown land debate. No, I don't, so I'm going to wait until I do my setup. For now I will multiple my forts and lower my army maintenance because as England you will lose much money early on. Then we need to royal marry Portugal to get the Anglo-Portuguese alliance relation buff and move our armies to Contentan and Caux. What I'm going to do now is to save game periodically in order to get the specific setup I want. As you can see, I still don't have the 5% crown land debate even after the monthly reset, and as you can see now Burgundy also wants to break their alliance with me. However, if I hire these advisors, the cheapest one, England always has these cheap advisors, and get religious diplomats, now Burgundy will want to still be my ally after royal marrying them. As you can see, now I'm going to wait a bit and royal marry them. And there is it, now they're fine with being my ally, even if I'm allied to two of the rivals, in this case Austria and Aragon, which I am going to royal marry too, because I want to get a relation boost with them to curry favors. Now I've got the 5% crown land ownership debate. I will get it by bribing the parliament, summon the diet, seize land and abolish villainage. Now I'm going to grant all of the mana privileges because as you will see right now, our first ruler is so bad. Now I'm also selling titles. However, if you sell titles, your autonomy will be very high, especially after the Lollard event, which will give you also some more ticking autonomy. Now, if you don't want to sell titles because you don't want to deal with that high autonomy, say 30%, around 30%, yeah, after finishing the 100 Years War, then just don't sell titles and stay with 10% crown land. Now we are also going to take one of the diets, and as you see, none of those are easily completable, so I'm going to allow religious delegation in order to complete the diet and then go with the setup. For the setup I'm going to take supremacy over the crown and the general privilege. For the clergy I'm going to get some loyalty equilibrium things and clerical education. For the burghers I'm going to get prestige, indebted to the burghers and some more loyalty. Now it's also time to recruit some ships. This is because we need to have 50 ships at some point, and if we start getting some of them right now, then it's better, also because we are going to fight all of the Irish, the French and the Castilians early on, and if we have a strong navy then it will be way easier. Now this is the mission I told you, and we don't need to have 50 of them right now, but we will eventually need to have 50 ships, so yeah, we can just start doing it by now. Also, what you should do is assigning a seat in the parliament to every single province, just because of the buffs this gives. Now after doing this, we can start setting our rivals, and I'm going to do France, Scotland and one that's not an ally to our allies. I mean, a rival to our allies. as you can see, I am going to do Castile, also because we are going to fight them later. However, if you are allied to Castile instead of Aragon, of course, do not fight rival Castile. Now I've also seen that Castile and France are allied, so I might just Alt F4. As you can see now, after the Castilian and French alliance incident, I'm back with all the setup done again, but this time France is allied with Switzerland instead of Castile, which will make this war actually winnable. Now, in order to win the war, we also need to wait until the 1447 or so, because I'm going to wait until I have 5 or 6 favors with Austria, just as you can see right now. And as soon as this event pops, you have to check if Scotland and France are allied. If they're not, this means you can delete the castles on England. You can let the one in London if you want. However, after this you need to activate all of your forts, max army maintenance, and get a Merc company on Caen. This is because we need to hold the line in Normandy until we can get help from our allies. Then we are going to recruit generals, and as always we are going to let our highest siege guy on charge of the Merc company, and then the big siege shock guys to our big armies, the small shock guys to our small armies. Now we can click and start the war. As you can see, what I'm doing is defending main and keeping our armies together, because we don't want to lose any battles early on. If we do, we won't be able to call in Burgundy as we've just done now. We need to be above 30% negative war score. Now we can also call in Aragon and start getting favors with Portugal in order to call them later, just as I've done. Now we can start improving relations with Burgundy, because they will be mad with us after POing France, even if they are our ally. Now this is the War of the Roses, and this is something you don't want to skip because of this mission. As you can see, it gives us very good buffs. Say, if you PU France, you are going to get coalition, but thanks to this, that reduces the AA, then you are not going to get coalitioned anymore. Also, the nobility loyalty equilibrium is fine, because we also want to revoke some of the privileges we have already granted, like the general one. So, how do we play around this? Well, as you can see, you have two options, and well, all you have to do is to pick the option with a better ruler for you. In my case, the first one is so bad and the second one is just kind of bad, so I'm going to pick the second one. However, before clicking on this, you need to start moving your armies. Just as you can see, in my case, I finished sieging Paris, and now I'm moving my armies back to my island, because they are going to spawn here. Now, after I finally finished moving all of my armies to England, then I can click on one of the options and finish off the rebels. If this rebel ruler was better than the one we have just gotten from the War of the Roses event, then we would just let them win. However, this guy is worse than the one I've got. Now, after beating the first tag, you will get this event, and you should click on the first one because it gives you less national unrest. It makes no sense to pick the second one because it gives you more unrest. Now, as you can see, Burgundy has been pissed out by France, and this is not common. I've played England many times, say 20 maybe, and I've never ever seen until now France pissing out Burgundy and making them break their alliance with us. But anyway, we'll start now spying on both France and Castile, because we want to have a claim on Vizcaya. More on that later. Now, after finishing the War of the Roses, you will get a lot of events that grant you stability. Say, this one that also gives you a heir, and this. With all of these events it's plus 3 stab. I was with already some stability because I've got 2 events that boosted my stab, but even without those you will be at 0 or 1 stability, which is fine already. Now we can make our claim in Vizcaya and get ready to declare on them later. Now we have to curry favors with Portugal just in case we have to make them break their alliance with Castile, because even though we can beat both Castile and Portugal at the same time, we would like to fight them separately or just not fight Portugal at all. Now as soon as the Renaissance pounds, of course you need to try to buy it and advance the spread in your capital. After we've pissed out everyone and get enough war score, then we can finally PU France. We will also take some money and boom, there it is. Now France is our PU. This means we can click on some new decisions, and yeah, as I told you, Burgundy is very mad at us. They would still be allied to us if France didn't break this. But yeah, as you've seen, shit happens, I guess, and now we have to deal with this. However, we can beat them later in order to make them break the rivalry to us, because I tell you, they are going to rival us. Now we can also seize land in order to fix the mess we've got with the crown land, and we have to be ready to start striking on Castile. However, we need to lower the autonomy first. As you can see, it's at 25-30% on some provinces, on some, on Alençon and Maine, it's even at 100%. It's a lot. Now we can break the alliance with Austria because we don't need them for anything else, at least for now. And it's time to start improving relations with France. This is because we want to lower their liberty desire. Now about the Castile situation, the provinces we want to get are these ones that Granada is holding right now. And as you can see, Castile is fighting Granada right now, meaning at some point Granada will unconditionally surrender to Castile. Meaning we can declare right now on Castile and hope they take all of these provinces, and then we can take them from Castile. As you can see, Portugal is exhausted and their manpower is drained because of the war against France, so there's no better time to strike than now. Let's call in Aragon and start the war. Free war, actually. All we need to do is to take the provinces down there on the south on Andalusia. Now, as our navy is way better than theirs, because yeah, we built galleys and a flagship, this means they are now trapped in Africa. However, for some reason I've noticed Granada is trying to fight back, so I'll start building a spy network on both Granada and Morocco. However, they finally unconditionally surrendered, meaning that we can now take these provinces from them without having to fight the Maghrebis. As you can see, we can take them. But I'm going to wait until I can take some more money and trade power. Why? Because we are short on money right now, especially after buying the Renaissance, which we are going to buy right now. And the trade power in Sevilla isn't bad at all. Now we start occupying some more provinces in order to get the war score, peace out, concentrate development, and now we are going to release Granada as vassal. As you can see, we can't take the Renaissance in yet, but as soon as it spreads to Oxford and Essex, we will be able to do so. Now we will release Granada, and at this point some of you might know what are we going to do. By the way, we can also take strong duchies, lowering France's liberty desire even further. Now we will make our merchant start collecting in Sevilla because of the trade power we now have there. Now we will move our troops back up at England because it's time to start fighting Ireland. So now the thing is, we can finally get the Renaissance. Burgundy might want to ally us now after we get a Monthik and offer knowledge sharing to someone else, say Austria. They will pay us big money, but yeah, they are still rival to us, and there's no way to get them, at least without fighting. So anyway, now it's time to get some missions done. We can get some crown land from this one, some claims on Ireland on this one, and also in Scotland. And this mission you can either click it right now or just wait, depending on if you want to play Great Britain or the Angevin Empire. Now you can just click on this, as I'm going to do right now, or you can save the mission, don't click it yet until you complete everything, until the mission that's called Seize the Cape and Discover India. If you wanna play the Angevin Empire, you can always, just as I said, don't click it, keep this event open and click every mission until you click on the Discover India mission, and then you change your missions for the Angevin Empire ones. However, again, this is not what I'm going to do. I'm going to develop cows 3 times, because if we bump it up to 15, we're going to get face setting in there, most probably, of course, because it might happen in, say, Barcelona, Constantinople, or whatever. Now ideally we would fight Scotland, one of the Irish that's allied to Scotland, in order to make Scotland release their vassal. However, Scotland is right now fighting with Denmark, so it might not be a good idea to sell Scotland to Denmark like this. Now, as you can see, I've got face setting, and I started declaring on the Irish minors. You've got claims on every Irish province, meaning that you have to full annex every single Irish OPM in the same peace treaty in order to avoid unjustified demands. Now, it's the time to keep fighting the rest of the Irish minors for the first idea group. Now this is important because you've got some viable picks, say religious, humanist, diplomatic, or even admin, depending on what you wanna do. If you wanna flip out of Catholic, then go humanist 100%, because there's no way you convert everything fast enough on the age of Reformation. But if you wanna stay Catholic, which I recommend and which is what I'm going to do, I think you should take either Diplo or admin as the first idea if you're confident enough. Say, if you wanna play stable, just take religious as first, because as soon as you start conquering India, you want to start converting everything, because you don't want to reach the age of Reformation with religious disunity, because of the England in the age of Reformation debuff. It's very easy to fall into religious turmoil with it, because it gives you a 25% religious disunity debuff, meaning this is the safest option. Now I'm going to do Diplo because I feel like I can handle it anyway. Now again, just keep fighting the Irish OPMs until you have conquered everything. There is it, and as soon as you conquer everything, you should unstate Dublin and start concentrating development from the north to the south, because this is where the provinces have more development. Now you can start the Crown of Ireland Act, and after bribing the parliament you should choose the second option, making Ireland a junior partner, because it gives you some buffs that are for all of the game. Now it's time to declare on Scotland, not to vassalize them, because as I'll show you right now, we have some pretty high gay, but as you can see we have some other casus bellis, meaning we don't need to vassalize them. See, we've got very high gay, so if we vassalize Scotland right now, we would get coalitioned. So instead, we are going to declare for one province, Ayrshire, for example, and declare. Now, after declaring, we will move our troops to Ayrshire and to their forts. Again, as I said before, what we want to make is to make Scotland lose their overlordship over the Isles, because this will speed up the things a lot, because if we try to get the Isles on the war where we vassalize Scotland, we won't be able to because of the war score. And as you can see, our subjugation casus belli ends on the 80s, and this is the 70s where our truce ends, so we've got plenty of time. This is the Lorard event I told you before that gives you taking autonomy. It's not common that it pops that late, usually it pops during the War of the Roses. Anyway, now we are going to make Portugal give us back Ceuta in order to annex some more provinces and to get the center of trade in Ceuta, and it's time to start annexing Granada. Some of you might now be sure of what we are going to do and why are we annexing Granada that soon. Anyway, now we have to wait until Granada is annexed, so since I have nothing to do, I will declare on Burgundy, just because I'm bored and I think it's funny. However, I think I might be able to make them unrival me and ally them again. Anyways, now we need to start building the ships remaining. We need to get to 50 ships because of the mission I told you before. Now, as you can see, we've completed the mission and annexed Granada, and as you can see, the map is quite different. We now see most of Asia, meaning we have technically sailed around Africa, even if we didn't sail around Africa, just because we discovered the Indian Ocean, and boom, now we've got a colony in Cape. What we will need to do now is to sail around Africa, but for real. However, now that we have this colony in Cape, it will be way easier, and after it's finished, we will be able to complete this mission called Discover India, where we will get cores in India. However, before that, we still need to do some stuff on the mainland, because, well, the colony isn't over yet. So now we will, in the meantime, start exploring West Africa with our explorer, because the mission that asks us for 50 ships also lets us recruit some explorers. And as you can see, now we have 5 cores in India, meaning that we can bypass the colonial range thing. This is why we don't need neither exploration nor expansion. Now we can just take these provinces and boom, they are already cored, meaning there's no coring distance. Even if we are still on the British Isles and it's very, very, very far away from India, we can still get these provinces. Now we have to start improving relations with the nations around Africa, say Jollof, later Benin, Congo, Kilwa and Ajuran, because as you can see, Africa is pretty big and our supply limit isn't that big for our navies, meaning we need to ask them for basic rights. I think it was called something like that, ship basement rights or something like that. Ship access, let's call it. Yeah, there it is. So now we can ask Jollof for it, and we'll ask Benin, Congo, Kilwa and Ajuran later for it. Well, not Benin, if you do Congo you don't need to. Now we have finally vassalized Scotland and finally also reallied Burgundy, meaning we will get them as a PU later. Also, as you can see, we've sailed around West Africa and need to start sailing around East Africa. About the cores we have, as you can see, you can either get them as your provinces by threatening war, just as I've done right now, and now you can state it because, as I said, it's already your core. You don't need to core it. You can ignore the coring distance. Or you can get this done by fighting. However, you first need to click on this, the East India Company. There you get the first option where releases this province as your subject and gives it claims in all of India. Then the second one gives these claims to you, which I think is the better option, and the third one does the same as the first one, but you play as the subject instead of keeping playing as England. Of course, this depends on how you want to play, but I think the second is the best option. That's why I'm going to take it. Now, this would be already done, but I'm also going to show you how to get this job done, reaching India, if you couldn't threaten war, just as I've done, because sometimes your cores appear in, say, Bengal, or Jaunpur has expanded to the coastline, or on Bahmanis, and they are not going to give this province to you just because you threaten them, meaning that you will have to fight them. Say, just as these guys get a core, say, see, I can declare on them for reconquest. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to declare for reconquest and show you how to land your troops in India from there, because it's not as easy as it seems because of the naval attrition. Now, as you can see, we can move our troops to Cape and then move them to India. However, if we do this, our ships will start sinking on the Congolese coast. This is why, as you can see, we can't explore the Congolese coast. However, it's no problem, because we can now, thanks to this mission, this one, recruit a conquistador and make it land on the Congolese coast, and then ask the Congolese for ship basement rights. As you can see, the ships are still fine, but in just 1 month thick they will not be that fine because of the naval attrition I told you before. Now we have to move our army to the Congo in order to discover them, and as soon as we do, we have to start improving relations with them, and on the next month tick, then this problem will be solved and we will be able to move our troops down to Cape. No problems at all. We wait a bit, and there is it. We've got the basement rates, and as you can see, we lost like 15% on just 1 month thick, but now it's fixed. So we'll also ask Kilwa and Ajuran for the same, and now we are ready to start moving our armies to India. Not only this one, but also the one that's still in the British Isles. We have to land first on the province we already own. If you don't own already any province, then no problem, just land on a safe province. Say if you attack Vijayanagar, then it's smart to land on Sri Lanka. However, as you can see, I am going to move my troops to this safe province. And if you are wondering, once you reach Diplotec 7, you will be able to explore the Congolese coast by yourself using a navy, instead of doing the shenanigans I've done with the Conquistador. As I said, there's no problem because I showed you how to do it without Diplotec 7, but if you want to explore it, this is how to do it, reach Diplotec 7. Now, once we finish this siege, just as I've done, we can finally take the province for ourselves, take money, and again, as you can see, we can already state it because it's already our core. And this is how you can reach India on the fastest way possible as England without exploration or expansion, and actually you can take good idea groups such as Diplo and Admin. You can also see we are making a lot of money. We've consolidated all of the islands. We are also again allied to Burgundy and royal married to them, meaning we will get them eventually. We've also taken the south of Andalusia with the Alhambra we will also declare on Malta, which we have a claim for, by the way. And this is how you're set to go and conquer all of the India and then sail around Africa back to England to divert all of the trade. Cape is a gold mine, by the way, which is fine. But yeah, this is all I have for you today, guys, and thank you for watching. See you on the next one. Bye bye.